Okay. Hi everyone. So today I will be discussing some basic writing errors. And my topic for today will be misplaced modifiers and dangling participles. And I'll be sharing my screen right now. Actually, how do I? Oh, there it is. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So, okay. So misplaced modifiers and dangling participles. So let's define. First, modifiers are words or groups of words used to qualify, limit, intensify, or explain some other element in a sentence. Therefore, a misplaced modifier is a word or phrase that appears to modify the wrong word or words. I'll show some examples of what I mean in a minute. And then a dangling participle is a participle intended to modify a noun which is not actually present in the text. A participle is left dangling, since the word or phrase meant to modify it is not there. And I'll show some examples now. Some examples for the misplaced modifiers are as follows. Okay, so we'll start with the dealership sold the BMW to the buyer with leather seats. Now you see that there's confusion in this one because the question is the buyer, like you're saying the buyer has leather seats, not the BMW. So that's why we have to change it to the dealership sold the BMW with the leather seats to the buyer because it's the car that has the leather seats, not the buyer. So you have to switch it around. And then for the next sentence, I said, the kids saw a statue behind the building made of candy. And you see the confusion there is because you're implying that the building itself is made of candy, not the statue. So again, we have to switch it around and we say, the kids saw a statue made of candy behind the building. And under that, I included a quick how to fix. This came mainly from the text, but it said to avoid misplacing a modifier, try keeping it as close as possible to what it modifies. If you cannot relocate the modifier, however, separate it from the rest of the sentence with a comma. Thus, this prevents the readers from connecting the modifier to the nearest noun. And then here are some examples regarding to the dangling participles. So I started with sitting on the beach, the sun set upon the horizon. Now this would be a good sentence, but we don't know who was sitting on the beach. They kind of sound like two separate things, not really like together. So we want to modify that and say that sitting on the beach, we watched the sun set upon the horizon. Adding that you're not leaving off the action as unknown. It's now connected to something. It's connected to we. We did that. And then another sentence I used was, using a telescope, the stars were clearly defined. And then an edit for that would be, using a telescope, I could see the stars clearly, because now you're adding ownership to who's doing it, which is important because if not, then you're just left wondering, well, who did this? Who's using this telescope? Who's sitting on the beach? And then under that, I also included a quick how-to fix. I said, well, this came again from the text, but it said, to make sure you do not come across this error, tighten the link between the activity implied by the participle and the entity performing the activity. And you must include who or what is carrying out the action. So that's important in all of that, because you have to add who is doing the action in order for it to make sense. And then at the end, I included some quick examples too that we can try out. I said, for the misplaced modifier, I said the employer questioned the employee with the application. And then another one that needs to be fixed too. They both need to be fixed. For the dangling participle is, deceived by his intentions, trust was lost. So our job now is to find what's wrong with these sentences and we can fix them. And that's basically it for today. That's the end of it. So, yeah.